from New York, from Yankee Stadium. Before Game 4, it's the show that has splurged on a brand new drone.
Yeah.
We had an old drone that wasn't getting the job done, so I said, you know what, bro?
Turn quick. It's going to show your bald spot, Wilds.
Okay.
I
I've got plenty of hair gel on my bald
look
spot.
at
I'm
that.
feeling good. Welcome to the show.
Fantastic.
I'm just thrilled here.
This is one of the dopest things we've ever done.
Great. This is great. I love it.
We are. I'd like to also apologize in advance because rarely do we use
Stick mics.
stick mics.
So I'm going to be talking like this, America. You're not going to be, no one's going to be able to hear us.
Not going to work.
Show's going to look awesome. It's going to sound like you're missing things, but that's okay. We're just, Brew's the only professional. Brew
I'm a
gives
professional.
speeches.
You see, this has not moved.
Yeah, we understand.
We're going to start the show with Fat Joe. Fat Joe started the game off for the Yankees, but 4 hours later, it was the Dodgers who were all the way up. Freddie Freeman,
Well done.
stayed scorching hot, put the Dodgers up in the first, and then Walker Buehler and the Dodgers leaned back. Shut down the Yankees. Judge and Soto combined to go 0 for 6. Not feeling great about that. Here's what John Heyman wrote in the Post. It's time to face the reality that this is a flawed Yankees team, a team whose lineup lacks true depth, a team that runs the bases poorly, a team that doesn't do any of the little things. In these 3 games, they didn't do the big things either. The Yankees took 15 years to get back to the World Series.
Damn.
And when they finally arrived, they look like they don't belong.
Just a blowtorch to the.
It's a tough one.
I mean, that's
Serious.
It's a tough one.
God.
Brewer, are you surprised the Yankees fell flat?
I am surprised because I did pick them to win yesterday. Obviously, I picked a 7-game series, so I thought they'd compete. And I'm surprised because they not only have, we know they've got the 3 huge stars. One of them's not showing up, Aaron Judge. But the other 2, Giancarlo Stanton and Juan Soto, are not only playing well this postseason, but they are career playoff performers.
Yes.
Like they usually show up. And I thought even if Judge didn't play well, didn't show up in game 3 like he didn't, those 2 would be able to pick up the slack. They did that against the Guardians when they combined for 7 home runs. So that surprised me. And the other thing is the pitching. And Walker Buehler, who has not had a very good season, was great yesterday.
Yep.
All right. And the Yankees starting pitching, like, that was an advantage I thought they had coming into
Everyone
this series.
thought they had it.
Yeah, and the Dodgers starting pitching has been better than the Yankees. We have this graphic that shows a huge surprise, I think, to everyone in this series, just how much more effective the Dodgers starters have been on the mound than the Yankees. So, yeah, for those reasons, I am stunned that we sit here 1 game away from this thing being over.
So let me talk about the pitching and then get to how shocked I was about yesterday and where we are in the series. You're 100% correct that the Yankees' biggest edge, was supposed to be starting pitching because the Dodgers pitchers have been so injured. Yep. They've thrown 3 different bullpen games already this postseason. I get it. But the Yankees are not losing because their starting pitchers aren't coming through. You're right, they're not coming through, but through 3 games, through 9 innings of each game, the Yankees have allowed 2 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs.
Yep.
First game 6, obviously, but it was a 10th inning grand slam. They're in this spot not because their pitchers, because their starters aren't playing great, except for Garrett Cole, played very well and pitched very well in game 1. But then their bullpen, somewhat maligned, has come in and played really well, or at least gotten out of jams.
Okay, yeah.
The bats are just gone. And this game last night was not close. I know it was 4-2, but so the Dodgers in the first, Freddie Freeman hits his home run. In the third, the Dodgers scored 1 run, but they left the bases loaded. In the fourth, they scored 0 runs, they being the Dodgers. They had first and third with nobody out. In the 6th, they scored. In the 7th, they didn't score. They had first and third in that spot as well. So, and meanwhile, the Yankees had really, in my opinion, prior to the 9th inning, 2 legitimate scoring chances. When Stanton got drilled at home or gunned down at home, and the Glaber strikeout, which, listen, that was a bad pitch call. That was a bad umpiring call. But when all of your scoring chances happen with 2 outs, then a guy getting gunned at the plate or 1 bad pitch call can kill you. And so I am shocked because I think Heyman's unfair there in that saying that the Yankees are. He basically said
they belong.
I agree that they don't look like they belong. I don't agree that that is indicative of who this team actually is.
So I had Dusty pull 3 pieces of video in back-to-back innings that I thought indicated the disparity between the two teams. First was top of the third. Mookie has this long at-bat. He fights off a pitch, gets it to right field. Soto tries to fake it like he's going to catch it. It's like Edman's already screaming around the bases. So just as a strategy, like, dude, I'm already going home. The fake is not going to help me at all. So then go to the bottom of the fourth. We have a similar hit. Jazz to Mookie, but Mookie's flying around out there, makes a catch. Same inning, then Volpe goes to left. And then guns down Stanton, who sprint speed, I learned this via StatCast, 549th out of 566 players. So while Edman's flying around, the Yankees send one of the slowest guys in the majors to get gunned out. So to me, it was just back-to-back innings. The Dodgers look faster. The Dodgers run the bases better. The Dodgers play better defense. And combine that with pitching and hitting, it's pretty much all the major categories. And then people here in our green room trying to take shots at Fat Joe. Arthur said, you know what? Ice Cube outdid Fat Joe. I said, how dare you?
Well, he did. Come
on.
I love Joe, but Cube got the best of me. But no, that's indicative. What you just showed, we knew the Yankees are not just a bad base running team. They're pretty much the worst base running team in MLB, and it showed on Stanton. They shouldn't have done it. And then the Dodgers run the bases extremely well, and everybody knows when Soto does that, he's not catching the ball.
No.
They knew that was a fake, and that's why
Listen, I don't kill Soto for that because I think
people
that
know it's known.
I mean, yeah, but it was there was if he does or doesn't do that, Edman's still scoring.
Yeah.
And so what I will say is that I said I was shocked. Maybe I shouldn't be, because what is true is that the Yankees, the first 70 games of the season, were unbelievable, and since then, they have not been.
Yeah.
For 70 games of the season, they're winning 70% of their games, oddly. Now you're at a 100-game sample of 500 baseball, so that and the base running, there is a great John Sterling, the legendary radio play-by-play guy for the Yankees, during I think it was the ALCS, maybe ALDS, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
But where he said they got stuck on the bases, and he just said kind of matter-of-factly, the Yankees running the bases like drunks, but that's just what they do.
Drunks on the base paths.
Not good.
They're always going the wrong way.
But I do think we are being a little too reactionary in that going into this series, none of us thought, oh, the Dodgers are head and shoulders better. We all thought it'd be a long series and a good series.
Yep.
And that, to brew your point earlier, Soto, Judge, Stanton, with Stanton just shooting flames out his eyeballs.
And he
Soto being excellent. Yeah, I mean, Stanton's still been great. That if Judge just was a 250 hitter in the World Series, they could be okay.
Well, here's the thing. They're 17 and 34 when Judge doesn't get a hit in a game. All right, and so they haven't been able to.
All right, so here's Yankees MVP continued his World Series struggles despite a supportive crowd. I was a little bit nervous that maybe the crowd would turn on him and went the other way, but he's now 1 for 12, no home runs, no RBIs. Okay, against the Dodgers, 1 for 12. Against the Guardians, 3 for 18. Against the Royals, 2 for 13. Overall, 6 for 43 and 20 strikeouts. He doesn't look good up there either, Brew. Is Judge in danger of hurting his legacy here?
Yes, there's no question about it. Anybody wants to say he's not is just not being realistic about this thing for a few reasons. One, he's on the world stage. Okay, baseball, we know, has become to a large degree a regional sport. Okay, so there are a lot of casual fans obviously watching the World Series, and really they see Judge's numbers, they hear about Judge.
But they watch their team every night and not.
For a lot of people, they are watching Aaron Judge and saying, what's all the hype about? You know, this guy isn't getting it done. So that's going to sit with a lot of people. Secondly, he's a Yankee. And I've said this before. When you're a Yankee, it's about winning the championship.
All the numbers over there retired.
You can't just be great in the regular season as a Yankee. All the legends have, save Don Mattingly, have won World Series, and he has to get it done. Derek Jeter, 5 World Series, but also performed in the clutch. Alex Rodriguez solidified himself as an all-time Yankee great in 09 because he was great throughout those playoffs. And then finally, this is not just one season.
That's
a lot
the key.
of greats have had a bad.
That's right.
Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, a lot of greats have had bad, individual bad playoff runs. But when you do it year in, year out, and that's what Aaron Judge has done. This is now, in his career, he's a poor postseason player. Here are the numbers.
The numbers
and his
are
numbers
jarring.
get worse as the stakes rise. The wild card, okay, he's okay. He hits 300. ALDS, ALCS, bad. World Series, tragically bad. And so this is, a lot of people are going to look at this and say, this is who he is. Great in the regular season, not great in the playoffs. Nick, you and I always talk about James Harden, Joel Embiid, guys that are great in the regular season, but don't get it done in the playoffs.
Hold on, I'm just saying.
I don't know who else you're talking about, but those two would come to my mind.
A two-time MVP that every single year plays his worst games in the most important part of the year. It sounds like Brew's favorite football player.
Oh, get out of town.
Well,
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Here's the one thing I'd say.
Bro,
you can throw Lamar in there because he hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs. There's the difference to me.
What?
Lamar has a flaw that has hurt him in the playoffs, and that's that he's not a great passer. Now, whether he is this year, we'll see, but he's not a great passer of the football. Yeah. That hurts him. Judge and the other guys I mentioned, they don't have those type of flaws where it's like they're not going to get it done in the playoffs.
Maybe if just 7 years ago a retired GM said Aaron Judge is playing the wrong position, he also would be immune to this type of criticism. But I agree with everything you said, bro, because this is how we've always done sports. And listen, Aaron Judge arguably just had the single greatest season by a right-handed hitter in the history of baseball. It's not inarguably, but it is on the very short list of that. And for him to follow that up with, inarguably, his worst postseason is remarkable.
And he's had other bad ones.
So listen, you showed the numbers for his career, and I almost feel bad, but it's just, we're at 56 games, 196, 303, 430 splits, 56 games, 86 strikeouts. That extrapolates to a full season at 249 strikeouts. The all-time record's 223.
Wow.
And in 2018, he had a very nice postseason, but it was abbreviated. They had the wild card game, and then divisional series they lost. From 2020 to now, we're talking a 142 average with 45 strikeouts and 131 at-bats. And that is what is so jarring. This is an element where you are punished because of how great you are. Yeah. If he was just a really good player and be like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Maybe he'll get a big, but he was so great all year. And I do think, and I know we're going to talk about it later in the show, but I thought the post game yesterday, if folks watched, I thought was fantastic. And one of the notes those guys had was about how they felt like the Yankees didn't have the life they expected, from the before even Freddie Freeman hit that home run. And I just wonder, KW, if part of that is when your superhero is struggling like this, how much it drains from the other guys. Doesn't seem to be hurting Stanton. Stanton just gets up there, looks like a picture of a baseball player, and hits the ball. Yep. But I do wonder if there's that element, and it does seem to me, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on like how good of a swing looks, but I feel like even the casual baseball observer knows what a bad swing looks like. Yeah. And you see Aaron, it's like that's not what he looked like in the regular season. That's not the types of swings he had.
He's batting .071, so 71, just like a not 71 on breaking pitches in October compared to 260 during the regular season. He's missing. I think he's pressing. I know he can't say this.
071.
071 on breaking pitches.
1 for 14.
Yeah. So I know he can't say this, but there was a moment in the Red Sox documentary about coming back 03 that Poppy was going through a little bit of a struggle. Yep. And Frank Cody's like, what should I do? Frank's like, I don't know, just be yourself. Like, I hit 220 and it was a big joke, and it was funny, and they called themselves the idiots, and it was carefree. Right now, I feel like Aaron Judge, every at-bat, there's like my legacy is on the line with this next pitch. It's not carefree, and he's tight in the post games. I wish he would just
But again, this
cared
has
less,
been
I
throughout
think that
his
would work.
career. This is not
That's why
an
I think
aberration.
it's compiled.
Right. I think, Brew, just psychologically, I agree with you entirely. And this is why, if I may, just a quick tangent, why I think sports, like, I love them so much, but they also seem unfair at times. Because I'm a big believer that one of the reasons Kobe was never afraid, even though he missed a lot of them, to take the last shot and do all that stuff, was because no one could ever say the guy wasn't a winner because he won immediately. Doesn't matter that when he first won, Shaq was the guy. And one of the reasons Peyton Manning had some postseason struggles throughout his career was just the bad luck that early on he had him, and
He
then
didn't
it became
win in Tennessee either, in
right,
college.
and then it got harder and harder and harder. And so I do think there's an element of, if we were to really go back at bat by at bat, is it on the board that if in Game 3 of the ALCS in 2020 he had come through, that he would be drastically different in the postseasons moving forward? I think absolutely. And but the flip side of that is, does now today become so much harder because of what happened last night and what happened the day before? Like,
you know what is very similar to, ironically, Clayton Kershaw.
Yes.
Clayton Kershaw.
Yes.
And who's playing obviously for the Dodgers. It's very similar. And Kershaw came through ultimately.
Yep.
Judge has to do it too.
I feel like it with the show too. Like if I have a bad A block, I feel a lot of pressure in the B's. But right now, I'm feeling okay.
We picked you up.
Yeah,
like
don't feel
Stanton
pressure like that.
That's
And
right.
don't. And by the way, I'm not saying you're not Volpe, but you're not Judge.
What are you talking about? I'm 100% Judge. Ohtani was nursing an achy shoulder yesterday. Had a device to keep his shoulder warm pregame. He managed to score a run yesterday, 0 for 3 with a walk. Brew, do you think Ohtani cements his legacy tonight?
Does that mean he has to have like a huge moment?
It'd help.
I think if he just wins, like he's legitimately injured. We see him when he runs, he's holding his shoulder. So I know he hasn't had a fantastic World Series. I think he's hitting, what, 91?
Yeah.
0.091. But going out there playing injured, and that's another thing the Yankees didn't do well yesterday. They walked him on 4 pitches to start the game yesterday. Test him.
Yes.
See if that shoulder's okay. He gets on base and ends up scoring, on the Freddie Freeman home run. So I think the fact that he's gutting through this injury and it looks like they're going to win, assuming they win, he'll be fine. Again, in baseball, we see guys have bad individual series or postseasons, and that's what we said, Nick. This is a one-time thing for Shohei. If this were to continue throughout his postseason career, this is the first time in the playoffs, then people would start to say, well, he wasn't that great in the playoffs, but it's just 1 year. So
Also,
I don't think so.
Listen, the Dodgers' regular season dominance the last dozen-plus years is, I know what the Braves did in the 90s, or I understand they won 14 straight divisions. The Dodgers in the last 12 years won the division 11 times, and the 1 year they didn't, they won 106 games. Yep. They were just the Giants won 107. And their story has been postseason disappointment. Now, 2017, I know a lot of people feel like the Astros cheated them. Okay, but it is what it is.
Right.
In 2018, they get to the World Series. The Red Sox just walk over them, and that was a team going into the year. People thought Dodgers were going to be awesome. People did not think the 2018 Red Sox were of that caliber. They went in 5. They get the title in 2020, but of all the COVID year sports, that's the one that felt the oddest because it was a 60-game season, all of it. They didn't get their parade.
There's an asterisk
and even if there's not an asterisk, it just didn't feel like a full vindication, especially then because then 22 and 23, they lose in the divisional round 3-1 and 3-0. And it's like, okay, so if the year Shohei gets there, you know what I mean? They just roll.
Yep.
And then
he was great.
And he was great in the regular season. He had great postseason moments, especially a great home run early. All of it. Then I think people will be like, he got them. Yeah. Validated the era, got them over the top.
Absolutely.
Even if he wasn't great in the actual World Series. So I think that's the key to this here. I'm not trying to have a double standard, versus Judge, all of it, but I do really feel that way. Just like if the Yankees, it's going to be tough down 3-0, but we're to win this, and Judge struggles the whole time, doesn't matter.
Helps him.
Yeah, people just be like, we got here because
It's like quarterback wins. I've been saying that for years. It's exactly.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.